We're now coming into the third section or the third aspect of our home exercises. These are yoga based exercises. So the first variation of doing the exercise on the floor is called the child pose. If you're comfortable, you can start in your Vajrasana position, or that sitting called the thunderbolt position. Whilst you're here, you can get your hands down under your shoulders, keep your knees hip width apart. Your feet can be kept slightly wide apart or together. And once you're in that position, all you need to do is lean backwards. So you're sitting on your heels and your head comes down. And once you get to that position, you crawl with your fingers and give a nice stretch to your spine. You're trying to hold this for 60 seconds. And once you're done with 60 seconds, you can come back into your starting position. If you have discomfort getting into this position because of knee issues, please follow the second exercise or the second variation that I'll be showing you. If you're having any difficulty in your knee trying to get into the child pose, the second variation, as I discussed in the previous video, is this one, that is called the knee hugs. So you'll be lying down on your back, and once you're lying down on your back, you can have your knees drawn in towards you, have your hands around your knees, and then pull your knees towards you. You're again going to be holding this for 60 seconds. If you would like to challenge yourself, you can bring your neck up and hold that position for 60 seconds. This will start engaging the muscles around your neck, and then you can drop your head down and relax your legs and keep your hands by your side. This is the second variation, called as the knee hug. The third variation of the exercise that I'd like you to learn is the bridge pose. So again, you'll be lying down on your back on the mat, and once you're lying down on the mat, from straighten legs, bring your knees in or bring your feet towards you so your knees are bent, and get it to a position that's comfortable to you. You don't need to draw them completely in or completely out, just to a point of comfort for yourself. Having your hands by your side, palms facing down, and then lifting your hips up. I would like for you to draw your shoulder blades together so that your chest is pointing out. You should start feeling the buttock muscle, hamstring, and your chest opening up. So it's working on all the muscles on the back and the front. It's quite a dynamic exercise. And hold this posture again for 30 to 60 seconds as per your comfort. And once you're done with this posture, gently bring your hips down and you can relax. The fourth variation of your yoga exercise is called the Chakki challan. It's not one of my favorite exercises because I am presently nursing a hamstring injury, but it's good for me, so I'll demonstrate it. You're going to get your feet wide apart again to the point of your comfort. If you feel you're getting a very intense stretch in your hamstring, bring your feet closer in. You could alternatively also have your knees slightly bent to release the tension of your hamstring or your upper thigh muscles. For me, this is a comfortable position right now, so I get my feet slightly wide apart, hands in the front, and you're just going in a circular movement. You want to go in 5 times anti-clockwise and then 5 times clockwise. This is again a dynamic stretch because it's not only addressing the muscles around your hamstring, but it's also addressing muscles around your back. Unlike the other exercises, this is not a time-based exercise, it's more a movement or repetition-based. So what I'd suggest is start off with doing 5 repetitions anti-clock and then 5 repetitions clockwise, in whichever manner is more comfortable. The fifth variation exercise, it's called the half spinal twist. It's got a lot of positives of doing this exercise other than just working for your body. So you start off with sitting in a long sitting position. The first step is you bring your left leg over your right leg, and then bring your right leg in towards you. And once you get into this position, you will bring your right arm up over your left leg, and then you're turning towards your left. What you're trying to achieve in this is more so a rotation of your trunk. You don't want to be putting a lot of weight through your left arm, so it's a very nice gentle stretch to your trunk and to your buttock. If you find this is uncomfortable to get into that position, you can also have your hand around your knee or just hold it comfortably in that position. Again, this one is unlike the previous one. This is going to be a time based, so I'd like you to hold it for around 30 seconds minimum, and then as you graduate you can start increasing your time. I'll show you the other side just so that you get that right. So you bring this leg out, both legs stretched out. First step is bend one leg over the other, cross the other leg, and then now this time as my right leg is crossed over, my left arm is going to cross over and I'm turning to my left and holding that position. To come out of this position, you bring your arm out first, get the bent leg below stretched out, and then the other leg comes out. This is your half spinal twist. The sixth variation is an exercise that's called the forward stretch. After Chakki challan, this is the second exercise that is amongst my least favorite. That's again because of my hamstring. So you bring your legs stretched out forward and you raise your arms up all above you and then gently bend forwards. Now what you'll observe is there's a lot of stiffness that I'm going through. So I'll show you all the easier variations. People who are comfortable, they can bring their hands towards their toes, head down and holding it for 30 seconds. Alternatives for someone like me or for someone like one of you who's finding it hard to get in this position is bend your knees, get your hands further out. Option 1, option 2, legs stretched out. Just get to where you're comfortable, keep your head upright and then you can bend your arms and lean forwards. And the last variation is again, you can have your legs slightly bent and then reach forwards and pull forward out there. Eventually you want to get to a point where you can take your legs stretched out and leaning forwards. This is again a very nice stretch for your whole body, from your legs all the way into your back. The seventh variation exercise is in a standing. From now on we are going to be doing standing. There are 3 variations. This is the seventh one. It's also called the dab exercise or the yoga dab. It's a very nice mobility and flexibility exercise. So you stand with your feet slightly wide apart around the width of your hip, and once you're in this position all you're doing is you're turning towards one side. If I'm turning to my left, my right hand goes over my head, left hand behind my back, and then I come back into the starting position and then go left hand while I turn to the right. My right hand is over my back. But this has to be a little flow in it. So it's a very nice dynamic exercise to open your trunk. You're fine to have your feet turning or twisting in this, but try to avoid too much of lifting the feet up. So keep your feet grounded and then you can just go into a nice twist onto your left and then onto your right. It's a very nice way to just get your body nicely mobilized and opened up before you start getting into more dynamic movements. The 8th variation is the forward bend. Again, it's a beautiful exercise to open your back and your leg muscles. Again, I'll show you the easier variation and then getting on to the harder ones. So get your feet to a point of distance that's comfortable for you. To begin with, I will not go with a very wide stance just because you don't want to get any groin strain or back strain. So start easy with your feet slightly wide apart, more than your hip width. And once you're in this position, all you're doing is bending forwards and then with your fingers you're trying to hold your toe. If you find that uncomfortable or not achievable, you can always bring your hand towards your shin or your knee, wherever you're comfortable. You're just holding this position and staying in that position to a point of comfort for at least 30 seconds to begin with, and then you try to increase the length as and when you feel more confident and comfortable in that position. This gives you a nice stretch along your hamstring, your leg muscles, your back, and also over your trunk. And that's called the forward bend, your 8th variation. The 9th variation exercise is called the downward dog. As you must have heard it, part of yoga. So you get onto your mat in a standing position. If you have stiffness in your back and legs, to start off with, you can always bend your knees, have your hands on the mat, and then draw your legs back step by step. Once you're in this position, try to get your heels to touch the floor. And the second thing that's most important is that you want to get your chest down towards you. So what you're going to feel is a stretch on the back of your calves, the hamstring. And also what you want to see to it is that you're not up here, but you're having your chest or your head come behind your arms. So your trunk is, or your head is not in front of your arms, it is behind,
and then you're just in that position. If you're comfortable in this position and you'd like to give some more dynamic stretch to it, you can always go up and down on your toes or your feet to just add an additional stretch onto either sides of your leg muscles. You're ideally again holding this for 30 seconds to feel a good stretch.
Now I'm going to get into the 12 asanas or the 12 postures that comprise the Suryanamaskar. Suryanamaskar has got a lot of variations based on which school it is being derived from. We will not get into the complexities of when you breathe in, when you breathe out, and this is just a simple format to keep your body moving. So we'll walk through the 12 stages. What I will be doing is that I'm going to start doing the left side exercise first, and then you can alternatively do the second one with the right side. Keeping it going on one side helps your memory in kind of remembering that you've got the left leg front and back, and then going on the right side. So to begin with the exercise, you stand on the top of your mat or your exercise mat. Start with your hands folded up towards you, and you bring your arms up as you breathe in, and then breathe out, going down. Take your left leg behind, getting your head upright, looking upwards. Next step is taking your right leg behind, getting into a plank position. The next position is called a Ashtanga, wherein you drop your knees down, your head down and your chest down, and your hips lifted off the floor. The variation after this is getting into the Cobra pose. We're breathing in, getting into a downward dog position, and then coming back with the left leg in, looking upwards, right leg in, staying down, coming up all the way back, and then into your starting position. We're going to do the second leg. So from here, deep breath in, going backwards, bending forwards. This time taking your right leg behind, head up, looking up towards the ceiling, getting your left leg behind, get into a plank position, get into an Ashtanga position. Head down, chest down, hips off the floor, hands and both your toes on the floor. From here, moving into the Cobra pose, coming into a downward dog position. From here, again bringing the right leg in, stretch with your head up, bring your left leg in, hands down, join your hands, going backwards, and then hands back in front of your chest. That is your Suryanamaskar sequencing.